Welcome to Fresh from the Field Fridays with Dan the Produce Man, bringing you what's fresh, local, and in season. From field updates to what's hitting store shelves and the hot industry topics you need to know, we've got the produce insights you crave. Only on the Produce Industry Network.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to Fresh from the Field Fridays on this lovely, lovely Friday here in the San Francisco Bay. Dan the Produce Man here with you, and today's Fresh from the Field Fridays is brought to you by the Produce Industry Network, powered by Ag Life Media. Check out aglifemedia.com today for all your agricultural information and news and goodies. Oh yes, aglifemedia.com. All right, folks, we are right around the corner, baby. Yep, summertime, and you can see all this beautiful stuff for the folks who are watching. If you're listening, you can hear all this beautiful stuff that we have here on the produce table today. And, you know, I'm just going to get right into it. The Yumi watermelon, baby. Oh, yeah, this is one of my favorites. This is a newer variety. It's actually not a specific variety. It's a premium brand name for an organic black seedless watermelon. It's a nearly black rind, very, very dark green, but they call it black, kind of like they call a purple onion or a burgundy onion or red onion. But it's inspired by the famous Japanese black rind watermelons, like the Black Diamond watermelon. It's a modern seedless hybrid bred for better shipping quality, fewer cracking issues, because with the older varieties of the Black Diamond watermelons and some of the other really good watermelons would crack when they were shipped. They bang against each other. Even though you put cardboard separators in there, they'd still kind of move around, hit each other, and a watermelon will just pop right open. So it has a very crisp texture and very consistently sweet flavor. Think of it as like the next generation black watermelon. It's premium eating quality and very eye-catching as well. So I love watermelon. And now you always want to wash your melons prior to cutting them, because not just in the field or in the stores, people are touching them and things. So you want to make sure that you wash them before you cut them so that your knife isn't carrying anything that you might not want into the melon. Now this one's not quite ripe and ready, but it's ripe enough. And the flavor of these is really outstanding. I'm just going to take a little snip real here. The sweetness is there. These watermelons are on the stands now and all through the summer. And I would encourage you to pick up a Yumi black seedless watermelon. So that's our first thing on the table today. And then another thing that's kind of related, serpent cucumbers. Oops, it broke. Look at that. Well, as you can see, there's a very small seed cavity in this watermelon, in this cucumber. For those of folks who are listening on Spotify or Apple, this is a striped version of the Armenian cucumber, and the seed cavity is very, very small, hardly anything. And you can see how flimsy it is, but when you eat it, it's, super crisp. You won't find these in big stores. You'll find them at farmers markets and specialty produce stores. And absolutely a wonderful summer item is these very crisp serpent Armenian cucumbers. Ridged skin, so when you cut them, they have a nice scallop look to them. They're actually a type of muskmelon and harvested and eaten like a cucumber. They're very easy to digest, and man, I'm telling you, as flimsy as they are, you heard it. It's absolutely very, very crispy. Great in salads, Mediterranean dishes, a Greek salad, cut up and put in lemon water. I mean, all the things you do with cucumbers, these are just ones that have an amazing flavor for them. And they originated in the Middle East and the Mediterranean thousands of years ago. And they were prized for their cooling properties, especially in hot climates. And the snake-like appearance gave rise to legends and folklore, like some ancient cultures viewing them as symbols of fertility. And today they're still popular in Armenia, Turkey, and Egypt, all that area beyond, prized for their sweet flavor and super crisp texture. So get yourself a super serpent cucumber or an Armenian and enjoy it. All right, blackberries. These are native to Europe and Asia and, of course, North America. And they've been growing in the wild for thousands of years. Ancient Greeks, Romans, and Native Americans all gathered blackberries for their food and medicine. In fact, blackberry brambles were often seen as protective plants, with some cultures believing they could ward off evil spirits and bring good fortune. So now you see the way this is packed in a basket. This is not in a clamshell, and this is because it's from a local grower. And this time of the year, when you get your blackberries, and of course raspberries too, and other bramble berries, and even berries that aren't berries, from local growers, they're on the vine longer. So they're going to have that full berry flavor, that old-fashioned flavor that you're used to. And that's the difference between getting them in the clamshells year-round and getting them from your local growers. So this is the time of the year to do it, so enjoy that. And raspberries, also native to Europe and Northern Asia. And these have been enjoyed for thousands of years by ancient Greeks and Romans, prized for both food and medicinal uses. The name comes from an Old English word called raspise, R-A-S-P-I-S-E, referring to the old mountainous regions of the Old World. And both blackberries and raspberries are low in calories, of course, high in fiber, loaded with vitamin C, and packed with antioxidants. In fact, with about 8 grams of fiber per cup. So they're among the most fiber-rich fruits in the produce department. So enjoy your summer blackberries and raspberries from your local growers, and get them at your farmers markets and at your specialty produce shops. All right, we're going to hear from our first sponsor, and we'll be right back after this.
From the fields of Owyhee produce, where generations of growers nurture the land, born from the same rich soil that produces our famous onions, Owyhee mint oil is pure, soft, and naturally sweet. With a smooth, earthy aroma, it's a refreshing addition to recipes, diffusers, and many more. And like nature's best, it only deepens in richness and flavor over time. Grown with care, distilled to perfection, Owyhee mint oil.
All right, so you got that cucumber, right? Now you're going to make yourself a salad. Oh yeah, baby. Butter lettuce, also known as Bibb or Boston lettuce, originated in Europe and it was later refined here in the United States, hence the name Boston. Named for its soft, buttery texture and delicate sweet flavor. Red butter lettuce, it's simply a colorful variety of butter lettuce with burgundy tinted leaves. And I have them both here on the table today. And unlike iceberg, butter lettuce is grown for flavor and texture rather than crunch. The soft leaves were once considered a luxury and were favored by European gardens. So butter lettuce is nice, and you can these outer leaves. A lot of keto people like to use these for their burgers instead of a bun, which makes sense. And tuna salad, chicken salad, or vegetable salads, and then the inner parts like to chop up into a salad. So that's that. Local strawberries these are from Sea Level Farm. This is a place in Corralitos, California. Their berries come on a little bit later than most of the strawberries. They're a lot riper, so you got to buy them and consume them, but you got full flavor, baby. Let me tell you, if I get this open, full flavor. You can see the deep color of this berry, and if you're listening, it's a very deep, almost burgundy color. And when you open up the package, it smells like strawberry candy. So again, this is the time of the year to get your local strawberries as well, because this is when you're going to get the full flavor and the full experience. During the winter months, it's fine. It's great. But this is the time of the year to really enjoy the flavor that these things have to give to us. So get them right now. All right, I mentioned this before. The Stockton sweet. Look at this onion. Look how big it is. This sucker must weigh 2 pounds or 1.5 pounds at least. You could break a window with this. This is the Italian sweet onion, also known in the old days as the Stockton sweet red onion. And of course, it traces its roots back to southern Italy, particularly the Calabria region. Italian immigrants brought the seed to California's Delta regions in the late 1800s and early 1900s, where the peat soils around Stockton, because it was all swampland thousands of years ago, the soil around the Stockton area produced exceptionally sweet, mild onions. And over time, the growers developed what became known as a Stockton Early Red, a local adaptation of the original Italian sweet red onion. So these are really good, and when you cut them in half, you're not going to find rings. You'll find segments, like you would if you were to cut a garlic clove across. So, but not that drastic. Maybe 3 at the most. And this big one, I'm not quite sure. But the absence of acid in the onions, the absence of the pyruvic acid, gives it a really sweet flavor, and it's way better on the stomach, baby, that's for sure. Fig season is upon us, and even though it's the first part of the fig season, and our Adriatic figs aren't as colorful as they normally would be, they're still sweet. Absolutely delicious. Yep. So the Adriatic fig originated along the Adriatic Sea. Southeastern Europe, particularly areas of modern-day Croatia or Montenegro and Italy. It's an ancient variety, and it's prized for its exceptionally sweet strawberry-colored flesh and rich honey-like flavor. So I like the second season. I like them more next month, but hey, that's all right. It's a good start. Many of today's premium dried figs, they trace their heritage all the way back to the Adriatic type figs as well. So Adriatic figs, the inverted flower on the stands, if you can find them in the farmer's market and the produce markets. I'm trying to do things that you're not always finding in the regular supermarket, because you got to get out there and hunt and find some good stuff. All right. Let's hear from our second sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Something big is shining onto the citrus aisle, and it's pure sun rays. This summer, Sunrays is expanding beyond grapes and mandarins to bring you a full citrus lineup. Lemons, limes, oranges, grapefruit, and tangelos. All under one radiant brand. That means less brand clutter, cleaner shelves, and a fresh, streamlined look in stores. More sunshine, less noise. And the impact goes further. Through its partnership with Save the Children, the Sunrays brand extension multiplies the good, so every snack can help make a difference. You'll taste the same Sunrays quality you know and love, now shining across every citrus variety. Plus, with one simple scan, you can explore it all. Where your citrus was grown, what varieties inside, how to discard the packaging, creative ways to snack, and more. Get ready to snack with impact in a bigger, more flavorful way this summer with Sunrays.
All right, folks, we've got some other stuff here. Let's see. We are going to do rhubarb. All right. Fresh rhubarb, which, the field rhubarb starts hitting right around April. So it's, amazing. Red celery is what I heard a kid call this in my store one time. You notice the leaves are cut off. You don't want to eat the leaves. They can make you very, very sick. When I was a kid running around a small town in Vermont with a lot of country around us, this grew like a weed everywhere. And when we came here to California, I was 10 years old. And when I saw it on the stand for sale, I started laughing. And my father looks at me and goes, "What are you laughing at?" I said, "Man, they're getting money for this weed, man. So, but hey, I was a kid, and that's what I was used to. My mother used to tell me, because she grew up on a farm in that area of Vermont that we lived in, and she knew the outdoors and the nature and what plants you could eat, what plants you couldn't. Back then, kids could go running around, man. You didn't have to worry about some weirdo coming after you. And I ran around the countryside all over the place. And you ever get lost, you get thirsty, you need hydration, get yourself some, find some rhubarb, pick it, because like I said, it grew like a weed everywhere, and chew on that and rehydrate yourself. And she's absolutely right. Rhubarb, this originated in Asia, particularly China and Mongolia. It was used medicinally for thousands of years before it became a food crop. Eventually made its way to Europe along ancient trade routes and became popular in pies and jams and desserts with a lot of sugar, folks. Although rhubarb is it's commonly treated as a fruit, it's actually a vegetable. And as I said, the leaves will make you sick because they contain a lot of oxalic acid. So you don't want to eat them. In fact, some folks could even kill them. So fresh rhubarb, look, because I was a kid running around, a lot of people, this used to gross out my produce partner, Guido the gardener, but I'm here peeling the rhubarb. I just like to get the outer red stringy skin off of it. And when we had the radio show, I would just bite into it. I still love it. But tell you, it'll definitely rehydrate you. All right, peaches and nectarines, lots of peaches on the stand. Yellow peaches and white peaches, nectarines as well. I explained a few weeks ago that like the onion, the white peach is the absence of acid. Look, when you're picking peaches in the store and you want them ripe, hold it in the palm of your hand like this. Okay, do not press in with your fingers because you're going to ruin it. Just give it a gentle squeeze with the whole structure of your hand, the muscles and the bones, and squeeze in with your palm. If it gives just a little bit, it's ready to eat. But remember, peaches and nectarines don't hold up very long. It's not something that you can take home and have for a week like apples. And they're best flavored is at room temperatures. A lot of peach varieties and nectarine varieties, and I'm going to get into old-fashioned varieties as we get into mid-July. And I mentioned Santa Rosa plums a few weeks ago, and there's still some left. This is an old world plum before pluots, and they're absolutely delicious. So make sure you get yourself some Santa Rosa plums because the flavor is like a cross between a blossom and a piece of candy. Absolutely delicious. So those are winding down. Also, life is a bowl of Northwest cherries. You heard already what happened to California crop, and so we're into the Northwest cherries. These are absolutely delicious. I believe they're bings. They're hard, they're firm, they're crunchy, and they're sweet. So get your Northwest cherries as well. Make sure you don't have any indentations on them. No sunken surface areas. Look all the way around them for any type of spots that are not desirable. Yellow squash, my favorite crookneck squash. Shiitake mushrooms, domestic shiitake mushrooms. You're used to seeing really perfect shiitake mushrooms in the stores. A lot of those are imported from China. These are domestic. Make sure you always get domestic mushrooms when you're buying mushrooms of any sort. Reed avocados we already talked about. They got mangoes and all kinds of great goodies. So that pretty much wraps it up for what's on the table here today. Oh, there's a porcini mushroom, and Dan, why do they always cut them in half? Well, there's a worm that likes to make its way inside of the porcini mushroom, and they cut them in half to show you no worms. Oh, these are great on the grill as well. All right, folks, that wraps it up for Fresh from the Field Fridays this week. Get out there to the farmer's market, to your produce stand, or wherever you like to shop, and try something new, something you haven't tried before in the past. It just might be your favorite new fruit or vegetable. All right, folks, Be sure to check out my YouTube and Rumble channels called Getting Fresh with Dan the Produce Man and my Substack of the same name. And all my social media can be found at dantheproduceman.com. Until next week, this is Dan the Produce Man reminding you that it's always best when you get it fresh.
You've been listening to Fresh from the Field Fridays with Dan the Produce Man. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Spotify for fresh weekly episodes. For more, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Produce Industry Network and at Dan the Produce Man. Until next time, we'll see you in the fields or on the horizon.